So now that we have pretty much everything related to our firing logic inside of our fire ability, we want to go ahead and take this hit result, pass it to the server, so that way the server can basically do whatever it needs to, such as damaging a zombie, exploding a barrel, whatever we decide to do. Now, in order to do this, this is also going to decrement our ammo in a predictive manner, so we will be getting that set up in the very near future. But what we're going to be doing is in the activate ability on the server, which is inside of this else statement right here, we're going to need to bind to the target data set. So basically, what we're sending is not, in your traditional RPC sense. Well, it is, but it is a target data. And you'll see what that is here in a second. But pretty much when the server receives it, this binding is going to fire off a function that we can then go through and do logic in. So what we want to do is get the ability system component. So U ability system component equals get ability system component from actor info. And using that, we search for target data. We will see server set replicated target data. That's not what we want. We want the delegate. So let's search for, what's it called? Search for delegate, and we have ability target data set. So basically, when that target data is received, this will be what fires off. So let's go ahead and include the ability system component. And inside of here, we need to go ahead and pass in the ability handle, so handle, and then the original prediction key. So that's going to be off of the activation info. And we're going to grab the activation prediction key. So in here, now the server is pretty much listening. However, we need a callback. So we want to go ahead and add a U object for it to respond to when the data is received. So we're going to pass in this for the user class or the object. And for the function, we're going to do U gameplay ability underscore fire. And we want to make a new function called handle target data. So we need to actually make this. So let's go to our header, create a new void, handle target data. Now we need to figure out what parameters this takes in, so we can go to our ability target data set delegate, go to the return, which is the delegate itself, and we can see it takes in a const f gameplay ability target data handle and a gameplay tag. And I already know this gameplay tag here is the application tag. So let's paste those as parameters and we'll call it data handle. And for the gameplay tag, we'll call it application tag. And now as you can see, we are good to go. So when the server receives target data, it will call handle target data and pass these through. So let's go ahead and create the definition and move some stuff over to it. So inside of Fire, where I wrote create and send target data to the server, we are actually going to want to do this regardless of if we actually hit something. So we can remove the if statement and instead go ahead and construct our target data. So f gameplay ability target data single target hit. Now this will be a pointer and we'll call this one hit, or let's just do target hit. And we're going to set that equal to new f gameplay data or get gameplay ability target data single target hit result. And now we are ready to pretty much send data to the server. We do need a target data handle though. But to begin, we're going to first off go ahead and grab the ability system component. And on the ability system component, we're going to call that one function that we just saw. So if we search for target data, we have server set replicated target data. So this will be basically the RPC that takes our hit result from the client to the server. So this takes in a ability handle, so current spec handle, takes in the original prediction key. So the original prediction key is going to be the current activation info, get activation prediction key, then the target data handle. So we're just going to call it data handle, and then the application tag, which we don't care about. So F gameplay tag. We're just going to create a new one. So now we need to create this data handle. So that's going to be a F gameplay ability target data handle, and we're going to construct a new one from the target hit. So we're just going to pass that in, and there we go. So this takes in a, let's see, we also need the current prediction key. So in our case, we don't have that yet. However, we can actually grab the ability system component and search for, well, prediction key, and we'll just grab the scoped prediction key. So we have this, and we are able to send it to the server. However, we are going to want to kind of do a little bit of a refactor. So this stuff here is going to end up in handle target data. So what we're going to do is cut and paste. And inside of our fire, once we create our data handle, we're going to call handle target data and pass in the data handle and the new application tag. So F gameplay tag. So we can actually replace F gameplay tag here with the application tag. And the reason I'm doing this is because what I want to do is when we left click as a client, it's going to activate the ability, and we want to immediately call fire. So inside of fire, we're going to immediately go ahead and pass everything over to the handle target data. So that way inside of here, we can immediately apply the cost. And I'll cover what the cost is in a future video when we set this up with the attribute. But basically, in our case for this, the cost is going to be a gameplay effect, which I need to cover. And that gameplay effect is pretty much just going to decrement our ammo in the magazine by 1. So every time handle target data fires, we are going to be reducing the ammo in our magazine by 1. And we can do that simply by calling apply cost. And we're going to do this on the server and the client, which both are going to be calling handle target data. So it takes in the ability spec handle, so current spec handle, takes in the actor info, so current actor info, current activation info, and was that it? And that is all. Next up, we need to consume the replicated data that was received by the server. So on the ability system component, we can consume the client replicated target data. So it takes in again the ability handle, so current spec handle, and then the original prediction key, which is the current activation info, get activation prediction key. So that is pretty much it. We just have to actually only run this if we are the client. So the way we, determine that is if we are locally controlled and we do not have authority. So let's pass in the current activation info, pass in the address to it. And if that is the case, we will send the target data to the server. And then otherwise, we are server, and we want to say apply damage, for example. All right, so let's go ahead, compile and launch, and I'm going to go ahead and give a brief overview as to what all is happening. And same thing, assuming this actually, works first try. So what's going on is when we left click as the client, we are locally controlled, and this goes for if we are the listen server as well. We're just going to immediately call fire. If we are the server and this is a client that, activated this, we are going to be running the else statement. which in our case, we are going to bind to the target data received delegate or the target data set delegate. So basically, when the client sends target data to the server and the server receives it, the server will call this function. So in the case of the client, we are going to create a hit result from our trace. We're going to create a new set of target data from that hit result, and then create a data handle from it. And to make our lives easier, because we're going to be using prediction for this, and I'll have to show you an example. I haven't completed this just yet. We are going to call handle target data, which is the same function that the server is going to call when it receives its data. So we're just doing everything kind of in one place. So inside of handle target data, if we are the client, we want to send the target data to the server. Then if we are the server and not locally controlled, we want to apply the damage. So hopefully that made sense. Okay, back in the editor, let's first off play as standalone as a test and just make sure we can shoot and everything still seems good to go. Now we just need to actually test it. So here we are just the server. So what we want to do is draw a debug sphere where we actually hit. So first off, we need to get the hit result from the data handle. So the way the data handle works is if we look at data handle, you can see it has an array of these target data. So we want to make sure that we do have, at least something there. So if data handle.num, meaning we have a data handle, we can grab the hit result. So f hit result, say pointer hit result equals data handle dot data. We're going to grab the first index and we want to grab the hit result. So get hit result. Now this needs to be a constant. So now that we have the hit result that the client passed in, we can go ahead and draw it. So draw debug sphere. We want to pass in the world, pass in the start, which is hit result dot location. Then the radius will do 15. Then the segments will do 10. Color F color will do green. And persistent will just do true, just to make it, stay there. So now let's go ahead and run our live coding and just make sure that as the server and the client, we both are actually seeing the hit result being, placed. So hit play, shoot, and that's why these aren't long enough to actually hit the wall. So real quick, let's go to our firearm logic component. Let's go to our perform bullet trace and change it from 500 to, I guess let's do 5,000. So we'll just do, that'll be our range and rebuild once more. Okay, once that is done, let's give this another try. And as you can see, everything I'm hitting has a green sphere. So that's the target data. Now let's try it as a client and basically do the same test. So as you can see, we are seeing the server's drawing of the debug sphere. So the one thing I want to do to test as well is add some lag. So we're going to add some packet lag of, we'll just go, big at 700, because I believe doing that only indicates that it's one way. So we'll shoot, and there you go. So you can see my shot is going to hit, say this, I don't know if this has collision, this lantern. Or it doesn't. It's going to hit this wall, and after, however long the delay takes, it is going to show the server's impact here. So I shoot, it hits, and then we just have to wait, like so. So we are getting our target data positioned where we are telling it on the server. And that's really what we wanted. So now that we have that, we are in a good position to where we can start working on the actual attribute part. So that way we have, actual ammo that decrements out of our magazine. If you like what I'm doing and you want to help support me, you can find a link to my Patreon in the description below, where you can also gain early access to this entire series.